And we begin tonight with breaking news on a case that sent shockwaves across the valley. Police have arrested a suspect in connection with the murder of two teens from Arcadia High School.
Yeah, this has been a big mystery since this happened back early in the spring. 31-year-old Thomas Brown taken into custody tonight. We don't know what charges he may be facing, but this all comes after the bodies of 18-year-old Pandora Julesroot and 17-year-old Evan Clark were found near the top of Mount Ord on May 27th. They had been murdered. The two were there for a quick camping trip. Their bodies found with no apparent motive for the killings. Now, the sheriff's office is set to hold a news conference to provide more details tomorrow, and 12 News will be there.
And Evan Clark's mother sent us a statement tonight reacting to the news of the arrest. It reads, "I would like to thank Detective Fernando de la Torre and the MCSO for bringing me closure I desperately needed. The past 4 months, I've been haunted every night by the murder of my son." She goes on to say that I hope now that they have someone in custody, everyone can sleep safe knowing that this person cannot harm anyone else.
We're also following breaking news out of South Phoenix. For the second time today, Phoenix police officers shoot a suspect. It happened this time at 16th Street in Buckeye. Officers responding to that area about 7 o'clock tonight. A man was shot by those officers. None of the police officers were hurt. The man was taken to the hospital with non-life-threatening injuries.
Good evening, everyone, and thanks so much for joining us. For 12 News at 10, I'm Kariba Devine.
And I'm Troy Hayden. Marks off tonight. This is the latest in a recent string of shootings involving Phoenix PD. 12 News journalist Bianca Bono joins us live now from the scene, 16th Street in Buckeye. What happened here, Bianca?
Well, very limited details released so far tonight, but I want to show you what is happening behind me. Police continuing their investigation and really focusing in the area around the Burger King at 16th Street and Buckeye. As you mentioned, no officers or bystanders hurt. One adult male suspect is in the hospital with injuries, but we are told he's expected to survive. Now, this officer-involved shooting is the second in Phoenix today alone, the 8th in the past 6 weeks.
Thursday night, Phoenix police investigating an officer-involved shooting near 16th Street and Buckeye. An investigation that comes less than 12 hours after another shooting involving police in the city.
It does weigh on them and weigh on us heavily. We signed up for this job, but this is not something we want to do. This is not a desire for any officer going to any scene.
Around 8 o'clock Thursday morning, concerned relatives called Phoenix police to a home for a report of an attempted suicide. And when officers showed up, they say the man came outside and ran at an officer with a knife raised above his head. After first trying less lethal options of pepper balls and beanbags with no success, 2 officers fired their guns, striking the man. Chief Matt Giordano was at the scene.
I understand it's concerning when these incidents happen in such frequency in the short time that I've been in this position as the police chief.
There have now been 8 officer-involved shootings in Phoenix in the past 6 weeks alone, with incidents ranging from individuals experiencing a mental health crisis to one man holding a toddler hostage with a machete. The disturbing trend prompting Giordano to announce a list of actions, including a refresher on use of force policies and enhancing its crisis intervention training program for responding to people in crisis.
These are very difficult calls to navigate.
Dave Goitia is the president of the Glendale Fraternal Order of Police. He says law enforcement never wants to use lethal force, and doing so can have lasting psychological effects.
But the problem is when somebody is putting your life in jeopardy or a civilian's life in jeopardy, the time for de-escalation and those tools has unfortunately passed, and that's when officers are confronted with split-second decisions, and failure to act and do your duty as a police officer in those scenarios can have devastating consequences.
When it comes to possible solutions, Goitia believes more proactive mental health treatment and access to services is needed. He also says stronger staffing for police departments would allow for more proactive policing.
There's no winners in these calls, no matter how you analyze it. Just a terrible, terrible situation all the way around.
Now back out here live, we expect this area to be blocked off for several hours as DPS takes over this investigation. Now, in between the 2 officer-involved shootings today, The city of Phoenix announced that it wants the public's help. It is asking for input as the police department works to revise 5 of its policies surrounding the use of non-lethal measures. So you can read through all 5 of those policies, and at the very end there will be a section where you can write your own comments. They want to hear those comments and take those into consideration as they revise these policies. You can do that for the entire month of October. We're live in South Phoenix tonight. Bianca Bono, 12 News.
Yeah, so the public can take a look at those. Bianca, thank you. New tonight, a former Arizona lawmaker could face jail time for violating a restraining order that stemmed from a death threat against a City of Tolleson employee. Democrat Lisa's son had been ordered to stay away from 3 different Tolleson employees over her abusive conduct. Her behavior led to her resignation from the legislature back in 2024. She's now the president of the Tolleson Union High School District Governing Board. And sentencing is scheduled for October 9th. Son's attorney told 12 News she's deciding whether or not to appeal that verdict.
Tomorrow, Amazon says that it will resume drone flights in Tolleson after 2 of its drones crashed yesterday. The company says that they completed an internal review and are, quote, confident that there wasn't an issue with the drones or the technology that supports them. The drones crashed into a cable of a crane, and thankfully no one was seriously hurt. The FAA and NTSB are investigating.
Nearly a week after deadly flooding swept through the towns of Globe and Miami, a community meeting was held to address people's concerns there. You can see just some of the damage that is still being cleaned up. 12 News journalist Chase Golightly at that meeting. He heard from residents who want to make sure this type of devastation never happens again.
The answer given by county officials was not the one people wanted to hear, especially when they've lost their homes and their livelihoods from this historic flooding. David Berry owns multiple buildings in downtown Globe, each one hit by Friday's flooding.
There's about 15 tons of mud that got removed out of this garage that had been piled up in there.
One of them is this auto mechanic shop. The fast-moving water pushed cars on top of each other, with not a single one making it out unscathed. Now Berry is worried when and if these shops will return.
I don't know. I'm uncertain at this point.
We spoke with Berry right before Thursday's community meeting hosted by the state incident management team to address people's concerns. Berry's top 2 questions: when will relief funding be provided, and what is being done to stop this type of destruction from happening again?
Something needs to be done.
The meeting filled with people who had the same exact questions.
We lost everything.
Officials said cleanup efforts are the priority, but funding will be coming to businesses and people in the next few months. As for how much that will be is unclear. Berry then asked what measures are being taken to stop a situation like this from happening. Gila County Emergency Manager Carl Melford says they will review mitigation plans, but as for a solution,
no amount of mitigation measures could have prevented this. It's impossible. This was a disaster.
Saying years ago they did implement flood mitigation measures that was a multi-million-dollar project. That was all destroyed in this flood. But that answer, not accepted by the people in this room.
I call BS on that, or whatever the government stuff is. That doesn't help us for the next flood, which is gonna happen.
This man says the county has done nothing to deepen the channels or remove trees growing there that diverts the flow.
There are things that can be better.
A point Melford agreed with, but says the problem they run into is the creek falls within homeowners' property lines, the mining industry also owns portions of the creeks, and the Army Corps of Engineers has restrictions on what can be done.
But I get it. It is frustrating.
After the meeting, we spoke with Berry again. While he appreciates officials explaining the process and knows funding is on its way, he believes there are ways to fix this.
Somebody just needs to take accountability and take action and actually do something that prevent this. It's not that difficult, in my opinion. I want to hear about solutions that can actually have an effect on people and prevent lives from being lost.
We're in Globe. Chase Golightly, 12 News.
All right, Chase, thank you. The White House is ramping up its efforts to reshape higher education in the U.S. The Trump administration has sent letters to multiple universities, including the University of Arizona, asking them to agree to certain terms in order to get preferential access to federal funds. Those terms include capping international undergraduate enrollment, banning the use of race or sex in hiring and admissions, and barring transgender people from using the bathroom that they identify with. U of A says that they They received the letter yesterday and are carefully reviewing it.
We are 2 days into this federal government shutdown, and tonight lawmakers on Capitol Hill do not appear to be any closer to any sort of resolution. Tomorrow, the White House is expected to release its list of federal agencies that will be subject to mass layoffs. The White House press secretary said the layoffs will focus on agencies that don't align with the president's values. Meantime, Democrats and Republicans are placing the blame for this shutdown on each other.
Already, we are willing, we are able to sit down with anyone, anytime, any place, including the president and the vice president. Unfortunately, Republicans have shown zero interest in even having a conversation.
All the pressure should be on the 44 Democrats who are dug in to try to pander to the far left corner of their base. That's what this is.
So this shutdown now will extend into next week, as the Senate is not expected to reach an agreement tomorrow and will not be in session this weekend.